Hi, this is week 4, problem 2, and the very first question is basically analyzing each of the following adjustments and formally entering each adjustment in the general journal. So if we on January 31st, obviously we have to write the date, and I do apologize for my daughter in the background. It's adjustment for supplies, so supplies and adjustment. Or maybe supplies expense would be another one. And then used supplies. So the question says, on January 31st, the trial balance indicates that the supplies has a balance prior to the adjusting entry of $450. So obviously before entering, it has $450. And then it says, a physical count of supplies of inventory shows that 100 supplies remain. So how much were lost? So adjustment for supplies or supplies expense was 450 minus however much was used. So $100 worth of supplies remain. So there was used $350 worth of supplies. And based off of this, you can tell that we started with 450 under the debit side, and then we had 350 that we have used during the month. So obviously we have 450 minus 350, we have 100 remaining, which is up here. All right, then the next question says, on January 1st, the 6-month liability insurance policy was purchased for $570. So technically, this was on January 1st. So I'm going to do January 1st. It says a 6-month liability insurance policy was purchased for $570, meaning that the adjustment for insurance. Hold on just one sec. So this would kind of be at the end of January how much was lost. So basically, prepaid insurance, and then obviously we don't have a post reference number, but it was bought for 570. And then insurance expense or prepaid insurance expense, at the end of January, 1 month is already used. So what we want to do is we want to grab a calculator, and then we say 570 divided by 6 is 95. So at the end of January, $95 worth of our prepaid insurance is actually taken away. So technically would be we have 570 minus 95, we have $475 worth of insurance left. So we are done with this assignment, with this part. The next part is adjustment for wages on January 31st. So January 31st. And by the way, 31st. Oh, no. If you look up here, I want you to say January 31st here, because you bought it on January 1st, but then you're making the general journal for January 31st. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually say that, but that's the only thing that makes sense, because if this was the only thing, then you would have just said prepaid insurance and cash. But it's basically adjustment of insurance after 1 month, which is all of these questions right here. It says on January 31st, the trial balance shows wages expense of $750. An additional $230 was earned by the employees, but has not yet been paid. So it would be wages expense, not there. It would be wages expense. And wages expense would be under the debit side for $750. And then it would be wages payable, which is an extra sum of the wages that still need to be paid for $230, which would be under the credit side. And this goes under accounts payable, which is why you have this. Wages to be paid. Okay. Now, don't forget that this also, with wages payable, also goes on wages expense. But these are the two things that get affected as of right now. The wages expense is starting off at 750, and then you also wages payable gets affected on wages expense. So it'd be 230 on wages payable under the credit side, and then 230 under wages expense. So at this point, they would have to owe a thought. Wait, was it $980? Okay, and then adjustment for depreciation as of January 31st. And then it says it's company purchase office equipment for $4,000. So equipment for $4,000. And then it says a useful life of 4 years. So calculated for the year. So for the year is depreciation expense on equipment. And then for 4 years it'd be $1,000 per year, so you would credit $1,000. So now basically they have left $3,000 worth. All right, used equipment. Okay, and then we have the final one, which is adjustment for depreciation. On June 1st, the company purchased machinery for $20,000. Okay, so on June 1st, so this would be June 31st. 31st. Would be machinery or equipment, and it was for $20,000. And it says with a useful life of 5 years, meaning that each year would be $4,000. Calculate the depreciation for the current year. Now remember, the depreciation for 1 year is $4,000, but you're actually adjusting it on June 1st, meaning that you're half the year, so you're only doing it for 6 months. So which would be $2,000. So then that's why you do machinery expense, depreciation expense, and it would be for $2,000. And I know this is a very common mistake that a lot of people make just because of the way that it actually reads. So $2,000. So what you have left is basically $18,000 left because you bought it on June 1st, and it's good until June 1st, 5 years from that time. All right, that pretty much, and obviously used machinery. All right, good. And then we are done with this assignment as well. Let me know if you have any questions.